Welcome to this meeting of the Board of Education. This meeting is being televised live on AACPS TV and streamed on AACPS YouTube channel. General information and protocols for the meeting are posted on the sign by the doorway as you enter the room, and I will read them again. Audience members must refrain from the use of profanity, verbal outbursts, or any other actions that disrupt the meeting. Except for handouts to the Board of Education, literature may not be distributed. No flash photography. All electronic devices with alerts should be set to silent or vibrate. No posters, signs, banners, etc. of any kind are permitted. All Board of Education meetings are broadcast live and recorded for rebroadcast on AACPS TV. Meetings are also streamed at www.aacps.org/YouTube. If the boardroom has reached capacity and you have signed up to speak either in the public comment section of the meeting or on a specific agenda item, you will be allowed in the boardroom after the previous speaker leaves. Thank you. Now, let the invocation. Oh God, we pray to administer that which is just in all educational policies, being ever mindful of your guidance. Stir us to action with love, wisdom, and understanding. And now the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now we'll move to item 2.03, approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve last meeting's minutes.
Second.
Do I have consensus? Thank you. Item 2.04, establish agenda order. Ms. Corkadell.
Thank you. Madam President, I move to hear item 6.06 immediately following 4.07.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Do I have consensus? Thank you. Item 2.
I'm sorry, Dr. Tobin, we have to now approve the agenda as amended.
Yes, apologies.
Motion to approve as amended.
Second.
Ms. Howell.
Ms. Omasori,
Aye.
Mr. Silkworth,
Aye.
Ms. Frank,
Aye.
Ms. Corkadell,
Aye.
Ms. Schalheim,
Aye.
Ms. Dent,
Aye.
Dr. Tobin.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Okay. Now we will move to item 2.05, the announcement of TAC scholarships.
Good evening. My name is Russell Leone. I'm an elementary school teacher and president of the Teachers Association of Anne Arundel County. My pronouns are he, him, his. And thank you this evening for allowing me to present something very special that TAC has awarded to some of our rising seniors. Each year, we award some scholarships through our TAC Foundation for Educational Excellence. And this year, our 2022 scholarships, we had 11 of them, and they went to Leah Perkins at Southern High School, Anna McAllister, Severna Park High School, Zachary Tedimer, Broadneck High School, Ashley B. Leone, Severna Park High, Arusa Malik, South River High School, and Grace Denelius at Broadneck High School. Those were in the amounts of $500 to go towards college. We had additional scholarships, one called the Robin Coleman Scholarship, and that went to Samantha Sanders, and that was in honor of one of our members' daughter's name. We also had 2 book scholarships, the Samuel and Bessie Child book scholarships in honor of one of our past president's parents. And those went to Caroline Sturgill at Southern High School and Michaela Harrison at Glen Burnie High School. TAC retired also awarded a scholarship to Caitlin Lewis at Southern High School. And for the first time ever, we at TAC had established a scholarship specifically for a student going into a trade school. And that first recipient of that award went to Brian Morales Calderon at North County High School. TAC is very proud of our students, and we congratulate them all and wish them the best in their future endeavors. Thank you so much.
That is wonderful news. I'm sorry, Mr. Leone couldn't be with us tonight, but we are thrilled to hear about that. We thank TAC for those scholarships for our students. And it is particularly wonderful to hear that a student pursuing one of the trades now also has a scholarship. So along with Mr. Whitaker as our Teacher of the Year, this is a wonderful year for our incredible CTE program. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so item 2.06, recognitions, Ms. Schulheim.
Thank you. Earlier this school year, the Board of Education of Anne Arundel County established the Candace C.W. Antwine Military Service Award to honor the work and legacy of our District 1's first duly elected Board of Education member, Candace Antwine, who passed unexpectedly last summer. Awards will be given to graduating seniors each May to help remove barriers to enlisting in the military by assisting awardees with initial expenses, including basic training supplies. It's my extreme honor to announce the inaugural winners: Jem Bombay of Meade High School, who has enlisted in the Air Force; Chandler Dearborn of Severna Park High School, who enlisted in the Army; and Luis Ramirez of Meade High School, who also enlisted in the Army. We are so proud to be able to make this announcement tonight, and I believe Candace would be proud as well. These students embody the values Candace stood for throughout her life, and I have no doubt they will be standout servants to our nation. Congratulations to these three exceptional individuals who will be honored formally at the inaugural Candace C.W. Antwine Military Service Awards reception this coming Monday, May 23rd.
Thank you, Ms. Schulheim. That is fabulous news. And thank you for leading the committee. And this is a wonderful tribute to her incredible students who have enlisted to go forward and serve their country. So this is just a wonderful moment. And I should say also that this is, I believe, just about the first program of its type in the region. There has not been historically much in the way of recognition for our young people who are choosing to enlist. And that is an incredibly honorable path. And we want to encourage as many of our students to pursue it as possible. So thank you.
Candace's birthday is actually today.
It is today, isn't it? Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So a good
No.
a good way to remember her today.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, we will now move to public comment. Speakers will be allotted 2 minutes each and may not allocate their time to others. The yellow light below me will shine when you have 30 seconds remaining. The red light below me will shine and you will hear a tone when your time has expired. The board asks that comments remain civil and appropriate to the various audiences that may be watching or viewing this meeting, which includes, of course, children. Student-specific and personnel matters are confidential and cannot be discussed in this forum, and that includes anything to do with ongoing negotiations. Please speak only on the topic which you signed up to speak. It is not the board's general practice to engage in question and answer session with speakers. I would also ask, in the name of civility, that we remember that it is not appropriate to label in any way individuals or groups with whom you disagree. Please speak to what you are here to support. For the record, please give your name before speaking. Handouts should be given to the board assistant. Thank you. So let me call up a first group who will be speaking on item 4.07, Superintendent's Report. Ms. Christina Corona, Mr. Jorge Cordoba, Ms. Colleen Walker-Good, Ms. Laura Bardell, and Mr. Andrew Knighting. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Please take your seats. Good evening, Ms. Corona.
Evening. My name is Christina Corona. I'm a teacher at Mead High. I'd like to speak about school operations, which should always be centered on the best ways we can serve our students' academic and personal growth. As a classroom teacher, there are two issues that impact how well I can do my job: planning time and non-professional duties. I'm an English teacher with 165 students this semester. If I assign each student a single writing assessment that takes me just 10 minutes to grade, which frankly is not adequate, especially for extended writing assignments, then I will end up spending 27.5 hours grading that single assignment. Rather than just assign a rubric grade, I try to spend time providing individualized feedback to each student, which is the best way to help them improve. The problem is I don't have 27.5 hours in my work week. I only have 15 hours that are not classroom time with students. And for elementary teachers, it's even fewer. And these 15 hours are not just devoted to grading a single writing assignment. I also need this time to plan lessons, differentiate instruction, prepare instructional materials, and collaborate with colleagues. And that's just instruction. I also need time to touch base with school staff or call parents when I have concerns about a student's progress. Keep in mind, I haven't even mentioned uploading documents to Brightspace, paperwork, professional development, faculty meetings, covering classes when there isn't a substitute, and non-professional duties. It's simply not possible to get everything done in those 15 hours, which is why, under our current working conditions, I'm constantly stressed as I try to juggle a multitude of competing demands. As a reflective practitioner with 20 years of experience, I know what I need to do to best help my students. However, this county simply does not provide me with the time that I need to do my best for them. It doesn't have to be this way, and it isn't this way in surrounding counties, where they are guaranteed more individual planning time in their contracts. Along with our lower pay scales, this is just another issue impacting our county's ability to recruit and retain educators. All year, my colleagues and I have been giving testimony about our overwhelming work demands and the need to put in sustainable long-term solutions. Please don't just listen. You have the power to act. I urge you to do all that you can to not only preserve, but expand our individual planning time and to put a limit to our non-professional duties. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cordoba? Oh, he's not here.
I'm not Mr. Condon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening, Board of Education members. My name is Colleen Walker-Good. I'm an ESOL teacher at Annapolis Middle School. This evening, I'm here to share with you the importance of two pieces of my workday and how they support my students and why they're essential to school operations. These areas are planning time and substitute coverage. First, planning time. Planning time is sacred and cannot be reduced. For each lesson to be prepared with expectations for a variety of educational outcomes, a lesson needs to be carefully crafted to contain meaningful and engaging activities that are differentiated to meet each student's needs. In addition to creating meaningful lessons, our time is taken by grading papers, preparing materials, extra paperwork such as SLOs, collecting and managing student data in Brightspace. Our surrounding counties have significantly more individual planning time than what is currently guaranteed by the contract for our Unit 1 educators. We must protect the planning time that we have now. Any less threatens to harm student outcomes and only encourages aspiring educators to seek work outside our county. Finally, substitute coverage. My biggest concern is as a co-teacher. When the content teacher is out, the co-teacher is expected to cover not only the special needs students, but all the students without receiving any extra compensation or any needed help. This is not only difficult for our overextended special educators, but also impacts our most disadvantaged students. Pay for substitute coverage benefits our entire county, which currently ranks number 10 in the state for our career earnings of educators. This small increase supports me, my family, my ability to show up to my students, and our county at large. I hope this current MOU and the MOUs in Howard County and Baltimore County and other surrounding counties have and attracts qualified candidates to fill all the newly funded positions proposed in the FY23 education budget. Tonight, educators are also speaking in support of the current budget proposal of the 4% COLA and 1% increase, which are a great starting point for a negotiation team. So my ask is,
Please do not speak about negotiations.
okay, sorry. I cannot accept this compensation package with the threat of losing my planning time or increasing non-professional duties or decreased pay for sub-coverage. Educators and legislators, like many of you on the board, have worked together to draft and pass the blueprint. So why are we playing with the working conditions of our educators? So my ask, please keep the cap on our non-professional duties, extend the MOU for
Please summarize.
Okay. Please keep the cap on our non-professional duties, extend the MOU for
I'm
sub-coverage,
sorry, this is about negotiations.
protect my
I
planning
asked you
time.
not to speak about negotiations. We don't negotiate in public.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
And I will say, unfortunately, if this continues, I will have to shut down testimony. So please, I've asked everyone to honor what are the requirements of negotiations. Thank you. So, Ms. Bardell?
That's me.
Okay.
All right, good evening, Board of Education members. My name is Laura Bardell, and I'm an e-coach at Southern Middle. This evening, I'm here to advocate for planning time, sub-coverage pay for teachers. And for the past year, our amazing Office of Instructional Technology has supported our teachers as we learn a new learning management system, Brightspace. Next year, we hope to make Brightspace the place for students and families to not only access content, but to create student profiles, which will collect artifacts of student learning over multiple years. That's pretty cool. The trade-off in switching to a robust LMS is time. Google Classroom was very fast and easy to use, kind of like a microwave. Brightspace takes time, but offers more custom features. Brightspace is the gourmet kitchen. Teachers will need individual planning time to make use of the new gourmet LMS. Currently, teachers have 240 minutes of planning time, 48 minutes a day. This is the only time teachers have to email, call parents, as you've heard other teachers talking about. We have secondary, but these teachers get burned out when they feel like in those planning time minutes. And that's how we lose the best teachers, because they feel like they're unprepared and they spend their unpaid weekends trying to prepare. So I just wanted to say that it's really important, and we should maximize that as much as possible. And I urge you to support teachers and to support Brightspace by preserving individual planning time. I would also ask, it's great to value planning time by continuing the MOU and making sure that we don't have a lot of extra outside teaching duties assigned.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Time is up. Okay. Mr. Knighting.
Good evening. Planning time and substitute coverage are all important aspects of my working conditions as an educator. This evening, I'm here to share with you the importance of these two working conditions, how they support my students, and why they are essential to school operations. I use my planning time each day to support my students, their families, and their learning. I use this time to plan engaging lessons that incorporate movement, collaboration, and project-based learning. Next, I use this time to strengthen the chorus program at Manor View Elementary School, from choosing music to working on programs to setting up concerts. I also use this time to grade student work, give feedback on student work, and reteaching opportunities for students to master key concepts and skills. Lastly, I use this time to make connections with my students and their families through newsletters for both music class and the chorus program, and positive parent communication. If planning time is shortened or removed next year, it will negatively impact my students. I will not be able to make the engaging lessons that students are accustomed to. I will not have time to nurture the chorus program that has grown significantly since I started over 8 years ago. I'll not have time to contact parents and families. Overall, my classes and programs will suffer. Second, substitute coverage. This year has been hard on teachers for substitute coverage. Every day this year, especially in the second half of the school year, there have been teachers and support staff pulled to cover classes in my building. I personally have been asked to cover every day for the last 3 weeks. This has added my workload significantly. I have less planning time due to covering. This has caused my students to suffer as well as my own family. I've had to work at home several nights due to coverage issues. I've also experienced the lack of substitute coverage for when I've had to be out. Due to the lack of teachers, my classes have been canceled for the day when I'm out. My students have had to miss music for the entire week because we don't have enough to fill all the cultural arts classes. For me and my subject matter, cultural arts is just as important as any other class and needs to be covered when there is an absence. Please cap the time assigned to non-professional duties and extend the MOU for class coverage and protect my planning time. Thank you.
Thank you. Now speaking on item 6.06, new COVID-19 outbreak mitigation strategies, Ms. Jennifer Fole and Ms. Peggy Williams. Good evening.
Okay, my name is Jennifer Fold. I am the chair of the Anne Arundel County chapter of Moms for Liberty, and I represent over 700 AACPS families who vehemently oppose mask mandates for children. This is not March of 2020. We have been living with COVID for 2 years now. We know who is most at risk, and it is not our children. There is no data that shows wearing cloth masks work to stop the spread of COVID. A piece of porous cloth covering a child's face is not a force field. Dr. K himself admitted months ago in an infographic he posted online that cloth masks provide zero protection against viruses. Zero. So we talked about the data we don't have, anything that shows cloth masks work at all. Now let's look at the data we do have. PG County schools have had a continual mask mandate in their county, and their county's case rate is almost identical to ours. What does this real life data show? It shows that we cannot control a virus, and using masks as a mitigation to try to do so does not work. Another fact that we know is that children, thank God, are not at risk for severe illness or death, from this virus. We should be celebrating that fact instead of punishing them by stealing their ability to properly communicate, learn, and express themselves. While some in our country are just waking up to the fact that we have harmed our children throughout COVID, causing them learning loss, mental health problems, and social and emotional distress, this is a fact that many of us have known from the beginning. Recent news headlines are emphasizing the detriments that COVID lockdowns and mitigations have caused our children. Now that these devastating effects are well documented, how can you deny it? We know that the MCAP data just showed that only 15% of Maryland students are able to meet grade level math standards, and only 35% are at grade level in English. With these abysmal numbers, how can you even consider a mandate that will cause harm to our children's education and learning? One thing that COVID has brought to light is the importance of our local elections, starting with our boards of education. This importance is not lost on us. We will remember the decisions you have made and the harm it may cause our children. Take a step forward, please, now and do the right thing. Leave children's personal health decisions up to parents. We do not co-parent with the AACPS Board of Ed or the County Health Director.
Thank you. Ms. Williams.
Peggy Williams, thank you for hearing us speak. I have a full-time job. I'm raising teens in the school system, now running for a political position. With everything going on, I got to email my congressman every day about something egregious they're doing. And now I had to come back here again because Dr. K and Arlotto are talking about putting our kids back in masks again. Well, it appears that we're ramping up for the election time variant. Why are we so consumed that people are catching colds? We've been doing exactly that since the dawn of man. We have an innate God-given immune system that protects us. Let's just go back to following common sense instead of abiding by this government overreach of testing and masking. If masking exceptions can be made during eating and gym activities, one could argue, why mask at all? Why are we coercing children into taking an emergency use authorization test in order for them to return to school? Here's some data we parents would like to see, and it should be provided to us by Dr. K. Is there ethylene oxide on the swabs that Dr. K is recommending children use multiple times, and what are those health effects? Has Dr. K defined exactly what constitutes a case? since this is the metric being used? Does a case include having symptoms or not? What test method is being used to determine this 5% positivity rate? Where's the study on the false positives of the test? Where's the study of the accuracy of the tests? Are vaccines a cause of the rise in cases? Has anyone looked into that? Until someone provides parents with this information, you need to stop contemplating masking and testing policies. Dr. Arlato stated many times these are simply recommendations by Dr. K. AACPS does not have to comply with this. The board is an elected body and must answer to those you represent, not unelected public health officials who did not take an oath to answer to the people. Finally, how long must you go on with this charade? If anyone else is awake out there, you will see that this is a false narrative, allowing government, health agencies, and private medical biotech companies making vaccines and test kits to collude together so that they can feed off the trough of COVID-19 money. They're just
Please
enriching
summarize.
themselves, and we the people and our children are the gravy train. This needs to stop. Thank you.
We will now move to virtual comment.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are now moving on to the virtual portion of our testimony this evening. Speakers will be allowed 2 minutes each and may not allocate their time to others. Ms. Howe will announce when your time has expired. The board asks that comments remain civil and appropriate for the various audiences that may be watching or viewing this meeting. Student-specific and personnel matters are confidential and cannot be discussed in this forum. Please speak only on the topic which you signed up to speak for. It is not the board's general practice to engage in question and answer sessions with speakers. For the record, please give your name before speaking. Handouts, well, of course, there cannot be handouts in this case. We're going to be starting out with item 4.02, school start times report. Julia House. Don't believe Miss House is here this evening, so we'll move on to item 6.06, new COVID-19 outbreak mitigation strategies. First speaker is Bonnie Fitzpatrick.
Good afternoon, actually evening. Hi, my name is Bonnie Fitzpatrick. I live at 1043 Situate Harbor in Pasadena, Maryland. Can you hear me?
I certainly can.
Okay, it's been kind of wonky today. I just want to speak on behalf of the children because I'm a PTA vice president at a high school in Anne Arundel County. I'm at the school frequently every day. And I would say since the masking went away, the kids' morale, they're very upbeat. And it's wonderful to see these smiling faces again, the teachers and the children. It's amazing. And I think if we put this back into effect, the morale is going to get way down. I've seen students that were failing in classes come back up and getting A's in class. It's amazing what unmasking our kids has done. I think we should go back to the old adage: if your kid is sick, keep them at home. I know it's hard for some parents, but if they're sick, keep them at home. We cannot mask these children again. We've already done this for 2.5 years. Go into the schools and see the smiling faces, even the teachers. It's amazing what taking these masks have done for the kids. We do not need them anymore.
Thank you,
And
Ms.
that, oh, go ahead.
No, you can summarize.
And I just wish parents need to get a grip. If your kid is sick, keep them home. If we did this in the beginning, we wouldn't have the masking in the beginning, because some people send their kids to school sick. We don't need that. Keep them home. Let all the other children stay in school without the mask. We do not need the mask to come back. And also, I do not like the new school start times. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you. Our next speaker is on item 6.06 is Sarah Sack.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to speak. I wanted to thank everyone taking part in the meeting tonight, especially for the board, because this is such a challenging topic. I think we're all here because we want what's best for kids. This is actually my first ever school board meeting. And what resonates with me is that most people in Anne Arundel County are actually moderate on COVID precautions, like I am. Yet the headline is that the moderate majority voice is often not heard. So I'm here to advocate for the middle path. Just to backfill you a little bit, we have 4 kids, and with our youngest, we are continuing to wait for him to be eligible for any COVID vaccine. And the children's grandfather, my father, unfortunately has stage 4 cancer. It might be all me, but given these 2 family members, we are in favor of some COVID precautions. I would call out those that say that kids should always wear masks all the time, forever. I would equally call out those that say that kids should never wear masks, no matter how great the spread or how dangerous the variant. The plan that has been proposed with temporary masking and testing for schools that are experiencing outbreaks is a fair and reasonable middle ground. If the goal is to keep students in in-person learning for their mental health and other reasons that people have mentioned, these are relatively simple measures that we can take to keep them in person. They would also help protect the valuable staff at our schools, particularly those who are older or immunocompromised. There needs to be recognition also that students younger than 5 or younger siblings of students continue to wait for the opportunity to be vaccinated. Local health experts such as Dr. Lena Nguyen have suggested that masks can be thought of as similar to raincoats, which you wear when there's a good chance of rain, but you take off on a sunny day. If we may be entering a BA2 hurricane, there should be an effort to get the coats.
Has expired.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Elizabeth Gray. Does not appear that Ms. Gray is here, so we'll move on. Our next speaker is Jen Tomko. Okay, also not available. We'll move on to our next speaker, Kristen Caminiti.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Kristen Caminiti, and I'm the mother of 4 children, ages 3 to 12. I can really relate to the previous mom who has a child not yet eligible for vaccination. I am grateful that Dr. Arlotto and Dr. Kalyana Raman have come to the board with ideas for addressing the rising case rate in Anne Arundel County. We are in the middle of a 3rd wave of this pandemic. No matter how much we want this pandemic to be over, it isn't. The data tells us that at 32.2 per 100,000 people, our case rate in Anne Arundel County is higher than in other local areas. We also know that our percent positive rate is 13.13, which shows we aren't testing enough. We don't really know what our actual case rate is. Unfortunately, I think the plan to only require masks in schools that reach a positivity rate of 5% or higher creates a disincentive for families to report positive COVID cases. Sadly, we have seen the extremes some families will go to avoid following COVID mitigation practices. Sadly, many people have proven that we are not all in this together, and that many people will only do what is right to keep others safe when they're forced to. Our kids have missed so much in the last 2 years. Requiring all students and staff to wear masks for the remaining 26 days of school will help to ensure that as many students as possible remain in school, are able to participate in extracurricular activities and end-of-year activities. As to the data presented by others, cloth masks don't do much of anything, but medical grade masks do, which are now readily available to anyone who wants one. Medical settings and operating rooms have known this for decades. Wearing a mask for 26 days during a surge in cases is a prudent and simple thing to do to keep staff members and students safe and to minimize further disruption to students' lives. If you recall, I previously testified and begged you to establish a metric that would be an on-ramp for requiring masks. I again strongly encourage you to do this. This virus isn't going away anytime soon, and your life as a board will be made much easier if you establish protocols that follow the data and take this constant hemming and hawing off the table.
Your time has expired.
Please reinstate a mask mandate system-wide. Help ensure that as many kids as possible stay in school and don't miss longed for and long prepared for performances and events. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Bill Love.
Yes, hi, my name is Bill Love and I live in Severna Park. Thank you, board members, for allowing me to speak today. Please, when considering new outbreak mitigation strategies, do not mask our kids. Do not close schools. Do not jab their arms, and do not use virtual learning. Masks, time and again, are proven ineffective for the purpose claimed by our county health officials, and they are harmful to our children. Masks are ineffective. It's a myth that masks prevent viruses from spreading. Wearing masks to prevent catching SARS-CoV-2 or similarly sized influenza is like throwing sand at a chain link fence. It doesn't work. The fact is, after reviewing all of the studies worldwide, the CDC found no reduction in viral transmission with the use of face masks. There's even peer-reviewed studies that have come out recently here in April that show mask wearing actually causes more death. Informed consent is required for investigational medical therapies. Mask use for viral transmission prevention is authorized for emergency use only. The law is very clear. It is unlawful to conduct medical research, even in the case of an emergency, unless steps are taken to secure informed consent of all participants. Furthermore, by requiring everyone to wear a mask, you are promoting the idea that a mask can prevent or treat a disease, which is an illegal deceptive practice. Therefore, do not mask our kids. Let the families use what works: vitamin C, zinc, over-the-counter immune system boosters, ivermectin, hydrochloroquine. This is what works to mitigate the flu. No jabs in the arm. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our final speaker this evening is Adam Wyndham.
Good evening. I'm going to be improving the speech, so hopefully it goes well. My concern with the policy continues to be how it affects special education students. The mask exemption request, coaching, committee process that went on before was ineffective and disproportionately affected special needs students. Just less than 2 weeks prior to the lifting of the mandate before, school officials were telling parents that there was no exemptions for students who needed services such as speech therapy. So this needs to be addressed in this policy. I think we need to move on from this committee. I think we need to let common sense prevail as it affects the special education students. We shouldn't have to submit. We special needs parents are already overwhelmed with caring for our kids. We already have 5 million pieces of paperwork to fill out and submit to doctors and schools and everything else. We don't need another piece of paper to fill out. We don't need another committee or process to deal with. We need common sense to prevail. Someone needs speech therapy. You can't provide that with a mask on. So let's just take the mask off while we're doing the speech therapy. Or if you have a child, such as my daughter, who obviously cannot safely wear a mask, according to CDC guidelines since the beginning, we shouldn't have to have this approval process. The schools know who these kids are, the staff knows who these kids are. So let's let common sense prevail on this one, please. And yeah, I understand the masking is probably going to happen, but let's not have tunnel vision this time with it. Like I said, let's let common sense prevail on this one, please. The school board's well aware of this issue. I've emailed you all about it. I've not received a response about it yet. So I ask you to address this concern. It affects many families throughout the county. Thank you.
Thank you. And that does conclude our virtual public comment this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. All right, we are going to move on to item 4.01, President's Report. I just briefly have a report to say that I was privileged, actually along with Ms. Schallheim, to attend the Unified Sports Day at Northeast High School, which was a joy and was a tribute not only to the wonderful students who came out, but also the incredible teachers and coaches who work with them. And I got to say, the dance performances were the bomb at the end. And my daughter, who's home from college, asked to come with me to see it because she wanted to see what everybody was up to. So it was fabulous. Congratulations to all of the students from all of the teams who participated. And even though it was not great weather outside and it had to be done inside, it was just a joyful, wonderful day. So thank you for that. So now we'll move on to item 4.03, the Equity Committee Report. Ms. Lamasori.
Thank you, Dr. Tobin. This is going to be a very short report. So on our last meeting, we basically debriefed our military student panel, which we hope will become a yearly thing. I do not want this to become a one-off because the opinions, the experiences, and the voices of our military students across K through 12, to be honest, are vital to how we create a school system that equitably provides access to success for all of those students. And we also discussed ways to extend this to military families. November is Month of the Military Family. And so just taking this seed that started in the wake of Miss Antoine's passing and kind of letting it bloom into something that really shows military families that they matter in AACPS, and we want to see them. We want to give them a voice in how we do what we do on this board, what we do in the school system, is something that I hope, although I won't be on the board the next school year, I hope continues with every SMOB and every board that comes forward with each passing year. So that's a pretty quick report, but if you haven't watched the military student panel, it is still on YouTube and it is a really great watch. So I implore you, please.
Yes, thank you for your work on that this year, Ms. Lamasori. I think you've created a wonderful legacy, and I suspect it will continue. So thank you. I'm sorry, I should have noted earlier, item 4.02, Ms. Ellis can't be with us this evening, and so we didn't have a school start times report. We do not have a budget committee report, I believe, tonight.
Yeah, we don't. We took a month off and we'll be back at it next month. Thanks.
Great, thank you. But item 4.05, we do have the CRASC report. Mr. Port.
Good evening. All right. Good evening, President Tobin, Vice President Silkworth, members of the board, and Dr. Arlato. My name is Fletcher Port. I'm a senior at Severna Park High School. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm proud to serve as the CRASC Secretary of Education. We hope that students engaged in AP testing have been doing well, and that the class of 2022 have been enjoying their proms, senior awards, senior nights, and preparing for graduations. Congratulations to Zach McGrath, a junior from Severna Park High School, on being elected as the 49th student member of the Board of Education. We are excited to see all that you will accomplish. The Maryland Association of Student Councils will be hosting its final executive board meeting this Saturday, May 20th at Linganore High School in Frederick County. CRASC is excited to send representatives to participate in the event, where MASC will share reports from their staff, officers, and regions, as well as the state student member of the board. The newly appointed staff for 2022 to 2023 are being sworn in. Students will hear the MASC president, Meade High School senior, Justin Paleska, will give his State of the State report, and the seniors will be recognized. A special congratulations to CRASC parliamentarian Brenton Meade from Broadneck High School on his MASC Outstanding Student Leader Award from our region. The CRASC officer nomination period closed last Friday. On May 19th, CRASC officers will conduct interviews for positions that had more than 3 nominees. Look out for an announcement of the candidates by early next week via the CRASC Instagram and the CRASC website. Thank you to everyone who showed interest in running for office. Elections will take place on Tuesday, June 14th. We are excited to elect CRASC's next leadership. Dr. Arlato's final teen advisory will be tomorrow, May 19th. We can't wait to meet one last time to recap the year and celebrate our members of the class of 2022. This will be my last crash report. Our next report will be given by the to be determined newly elected Secretary of Education. And I want to take a moment to talk about my appreciation of this Board of Education. Your open embrace to hearing the student voice and utilizing it in your decision-making process has been both empowering and inspiring to many, many students. Thank you to Dr. Arlato and all the awesome employees of AACPS who work tirelessly for the students. Your daily efforts are responsible for the success of this county's students. Thank you for your time this evening. For a full list of CRASC and Let's Talk Justice events, please visit their respective web pages. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Port.
May I just say, I just found out today before the meeting started that it was Fletcher's last CRAS report, and I was distraught. One, of course, congratulations to Zach. He already is getting spammed with texts on my behalf, so I can't wait to see what he does when he gets on this dais. But also, thank you on behalf of the board to you, Fletcher, and CRASC, and all the work that you do for students across our county and in our region. I'm not going to lie, CRASC is one of the better SGAs at MASC, and Justin knows. And I remember at the end of the SMOB election last year, I know it feels like a decade ago, I said to somebody, it was great winning, but it was even better gaining a friend in Fletcher. And I'm happy to say that now I've gained a better best friend in Fletcher as time has gone by. So I just want to say thank you so much for all the work that you've done for this board and for CRAS throughout this entire school year.
We will miss seeing you here, Mr. Port, but we hope you come back and visit us.
Thank you, Dr. Tobin. I will be back. Yeah.
Wonderful. And congratulations to you and good luck at the conference to Justin. And I hope all goes well. But yes, CRASC does us very, very proud in this county. So thank you. Okay, we will not have a CAC report tonight. Ms. Howard couldn't be with us. So item 4.07, Superintendent's report, Dr. Arlato.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I have a couple of quick pieces of information for you. As you're aware, AACPS is instituting a registration process for the 2022-2023 school year for any student that is eligible for transportation. That process began 2 weeks ago, and we are beginning our second round of contacting families that have not yet completed the registration process. Students who receive transportation as part of their special education IEP, as well as those that are homeless, will automatically be registered for the upcoming school year. Families of students in charter and contract schools should contact their school directly regarding bus transportation for next year. Students whose families do not complete registration forms will not be eligible to ride a school bus for the entire 2022-2023 school year, even if they reside within the transportation zone. So families who believe that their student will need bus transportation at any point in the upcoming school year are encouraged to indicate they wish to have bus service on the form. As of noon today, 65.5% of eligible riders have completed the process, with 98% responding in the affirmative. Our teachers and students continue to excel academically. Let me highlight a few of our students and teachers who have recently earned awards for their excellence. North County High School student Dominic Alfinito earned the top award from 5 finalists in the exploration of the moon and asteroids by Secondary Students National Research Program. This program, known as XMASS program, is a joint effort between the University Space Research Association's Lunar and Planetary Institute and NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston. Dominic's project, titled Possible Causes of Hydration of Vesta's Apia Crater, identified 2 possible explanations for the detection of water near the crater on the asteroid known as Vesta. Dominic was supported by North County teacher Michelle Heimowitz and his mentor, Dr. Parvathy Prem of Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Lab. Our North County Knight will present his research at the NASA Solar System Exploration Research Institute's annual forum at the University of Colorado Boulder in July. Hundreds of AACPS students participated in our Maryland History Day competition. I'm excited to share 2 projects and 4 students who will be moving forward to the National History Day competition. Annapolis High School students Addison Johns and Chloe Myers are taking their project forward titled Dr. Blackwell's Fight to Become an Ambassador for Women in Medicine. Central Middle School students Lucy Laughlin and Addie Tomei will move their project titled John F. Kennedy versus Nikita Khrushchev, the Cuban Missile Crisis, to the competition. Shout out to AACPS teacher Mr. Michael Yuskavich. Thank you. I knew I was going to turn to you because he's at Arundel High School, has been named as the Maryland High School History Day Teacher of the Year. Finally, let me highlight Hillsmere School teacher Adelie Nathan. Miss Nathan was awarded the Teach for Learning Innovative Education Award for supporting her students to creatively demonstrate their content knowledge and understanding through the use of technology. Miss Nathan joins teacher colleagues from around the country as those recognized as exceptional users of technology with students in their K-12 classrooms. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arlotto. So as we have moved item 6.06 up to just beneath this, I believe, Dr. Arlotto, you will present your report on mitigation.
I will indeed. I will indeed. Sharing some information with the board and the public. The county's case rate has tripled over the last month, and that uptick has been the focus of our daily conversations with the Department of Health. We have discussed at length the number of outbreaks at schools, and the Department of Health has studied and now developed strategies aimed at avoiding sending large numbers of unvaccinated students home as a result of those outbreaks. Those strategies recommend the following for schools that reach a positivity rate, including staff and students, of 5% or higher over a 14-day period, the threshold to declare a school-wide outbreak. The first, students and staff at such schools will be asked, not mandated, to wear masks in indoor school settings for 10 calendar days, with day 1 being the day after the 5% mark is reached. Except masking can be made for meals, physical education and dance classes, and outdoor activities such as athletics. Exceptions can also be made for students and staff who have a documented inability, such as an IEP, to mask. 2, students and staff at such schools will be given 2 COVID-19 at-home tests provided through the Department of Health and asked, not mandated, to test on day 1 and day 3, with day 1 being the day after the 5% mark is reached. Those who test positive must isolate for 5 days and then mask for 5 more in all indoor settings. Those who are otherwise symptomatic must remain home from school or work. The mitigation strategies will replace current outbreak directives from the Department of Health in which unvaccinated students and staff who are in a class or other cohort where an outbreak has been declared are sent home for 5 days. It is important to note that there may be case-specific exceptions to this guidance. The 5% threshold will be a launching point into deeper, more granular examination of the data, including whether the cases are concentrated or widespread. The strategies are also aimed at avoiding more extensive actions such as classrooms and grade levels, or even a whole school, switching to virtual instruction as a result of an outbreak. We should do everything we can to keep students in classrooms where we know the best instruction and learning takes place. These strategies help accomplish that, but we need to be very clear that we need the help from our families. Our school-based teams cannot and will not function as mask enforcers or test checkers. Their focus must remain on delivery of instruction to our students. The COVID pandemic has not been easy on anyone. We are about 24 school days from making it to the end of the school year. I implore you to help us get there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Alato. Do I have any questions or comments? I don't see any. Ms. Frank.
Yes, to point 2, you said students will be masked for 5 days. Could you please state that piece again? It was in your second point, after they go home, they will be masked the 5 days coming back. Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am. Those who test positive must isolate for 5 days, as has always been the case, and then mask for 5 more when they are in all indoor settings.
Okay, and again, this was a point that I think should be made. Currently, masking is optional in all AACPS facilities. So is this a recommendation, or is this something that you're stating is part of the procedure that you're implementing right now?
My understanding that has been the case. Anybody that returns from being COVID positive into an indoor setting should be wearing a mask. But this is part, I'm sorry. But this is part, thank you. This is part of the strategies that the Department of Health have put together.
Okay, well, the Department of Health is not able to make that mandate. Only this board can make that mandate.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
Okay. Other comments or questions? All right. Okay. We shall move on to the next item. Section 5. Okay. Ms. Corkado.
Yeah, I'm not going back into the agenda item. I just wanted to excuse myself. I have my family, my son is a senior this year, so I wanted to make sure I stayed for this piece. And I do regret I will not be able to, but I would just want to bring that up. Got to take the senior parent moment and put the child first. So I will be departing as quietly as possible so as not to interrupt.
All right. Good night and good luck to all.
Motion to, are we on?
To bundle?
Yeah, motion to bundle 5.0.
Consent items.
Yeah,
Yeah, the consent
yes,
items.
okay.
5.01 to 5.9.
Second.
Second. Do I have consensus?
Yep.
I guess so. Okay. Dr. Allen.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I recommend that the Board of Education authorize the award of contracts as listed on today's agenda, 5.01 through 5.09.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Ms. Howell.
Ms. Amasori,
Aye.
Mr. Silkworth,
Aye.
Ms. Frank,
Aye.
Ms. Schulheim.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're still here. Ms. Corkadell,
I might as well say yes. Okay.
Ms. Schulheim,
Aye.
and Dr. Tobin.
Aye.
Motion passes, where are we? 6-0.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
7-0.
6-0.
No.
And
She had
Melissa
to
is
step away. It's a busy night,
It is a
unfortunately.
busy night.
Okay. So, moving on to item 6.01.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I recommend that the personnel listed on the attached sheets be promoted and or appointed.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Howe?
Ms. Omasori?
Aye.
Mr. Silkworth?
Aye.
Ms. Frank? Ms. Dahlheim?
Aye.
Dr. Tobin?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Item 6.02. The board and Dr. Lotto have agreed to an amendment employment agreement governing the administration of his healthcare benefits upon the expiration of his term. Do I have a motion to approve this first amendment to the parties' contract?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Howe?
Ms. Omasori?
Aye.
Mr. Silkworth?
Aye.
Ms. Frank?
Aye.
Ms. Dahlheim?
Aye.
Dr. Tobin?
Aye. Thank you. Item 6.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, I recommend approval of the fourth quarter operating budget fund transfer for FY 2022 to be submitted to the county council.
Thank you. Good evening, gentlemen.
Is there
Uh,
a motion or second?
I'm sorry. Was there a motion?
I move to approve the transfer.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, great. And now we're glad to take questions.
And now we can take questions. I see no lights. Is there anyone with a question? Okay. I see no lights. We can go ahead.
Ms. Omasori?
Aye.
Mr. Silkworth?
Aye.
Ms. Frank?
Aye.
Ms. Dahlheim?
Aye.
Dr. Tobin?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Item 6.04, ratification of the negotiated agreement between the Board of Education and the Secretaries and Assistants Association of Anne Arundel County, SAAC. Ms. Rawls, good evening.
Recommendation.
Dr. Arlotto.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, I recommend approval of the tentative agreement between the Board of Education and the Secretaries and Administrative Assistants Association of Anne Arundel County.
So moved.
Second.
Yes, good evening, Dr. Tobin, Dr. Arlotto, and members of the board. My name is Melissa Rawls, and I am the Director of Employee Relations. The negotiating teams for the Board of Education and the Secretaries and Assistants Association of Anne Arundel County have reached a tentative agreement for fiscal year FY23, subject to your approval. In brief, the summary of changes as agreed upon by both parties include but are not limited to the following: a 4% COLA for all Unit 4 employees, one step for eligible Unit 4 employees as defined by the current negotiated agreement, and one back step for eligible Unit 4 employees who did not receive a step in the 2015-16 academic year as called for in their applicable negotiated agreement based upon an established criteria. Additionally, the 4-day work week will continue and occur from July 6, 2022 through August 9th, 2022. The teams diligently worked to reach agreement that served the best interest of Anne Arundel County Public Schools, SAAC employees, and supports their commitment to AACPS students, staff, and community. I would like to thank Mr. Bradley Darjan, the UNISERV Director for SAAC, Helen Wilkerson, the former SAAC President, as well as Carmen Lita Makel, who is the current SAAC President, and the entire SAAC negotiating team for their dedicated effort during FY23 negotiations. On May 17th, 2022, SAAC finalized the ratification vote for this agreement, and I respectfully request your approval and ratification of the noted summary of changes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rawls. Are there any other questions? Ms.
I was going to make a motion.
Oh, please make a motion.
I move to ratify the negotiated agreement between Anne Arundel County and SAAC.
I thought we already had a motion.
Oh,
and
I'm
a
sorry,
second.
did we?
Yeah, we accepted the recommendation. Sorry.
Rumi
I've lost
motioned it,
track
I
myself.
seconded.
Okay, so
Ms. Omasori?
Aye.
Mr. Silkworth?
Aye.
Ms. Frank?
Aye.
Ms. Dahlheim?
Aye.
And Dr. Tobin?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Item 6.05, ratification of the negotiated agreement between the Board of Education and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Local 1693, AFSCME. Dr. Arlotto.
Thank you, Madam President. I recommend board approval of the tentative agreement between the Board of Education and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Local 1693.
So moved.
I'll second.
Ms. Rawls.
Yes, for the record, my name is Melissa Rawls, and I am the Director of Employee Relations. The negotiating teams for the Board of Education and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Local 1693, have reached an agreement for FY23 negotiations. In brief, the summary of changes as agreed upon by both parties include but are not limited to a 4% COLA for all Unit 3 employees, a back step for eligible Unit 3 employees who did not receive a step in the 2015-2016 academic year as called for in their applicable negotiated agreement based on the established criteria, and also a step for all eligible Unit 3 employees. The board will incorporate the referral incentive permanently in the negotiated agreement, and the 4-day work week will occur from July 6, 2022 through August 9th, 2022. The negotiating teams for AFSCME diligently worked to reach an agreement that also serves the best interest for Anne Arundel County Public Schools Unit 3 employees and supports their commitment to AACPS students, staff, and community. I would like to thank Roland Johnson, the AFSCME president, and Moriel Hayes for their dedicated efforts, as well as the entire AFSCME team for their efforts during FY23 negotiations. On May 14th, 2022, AFSCME ratified this agreement, and I respectfully request your approval and ratification of the noted summary of changes.
Thank you, Ms. Rawls. Any additional questions? Seeing no lights.
Ms. Amasori?
Aye.
Mr. Silkworth?
Aye.
Ms. Frank?
Aye.
Ms. Schalheim?
Aye.
Dr. Tobin?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rawls. I believe that concludes our meeting. Thank you, everyone. We may have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Yeah. I think that's a yes. All right. Thank you. Good night, everyone.